Now, Nathan, was that officially sanctioned music here by the Sports Fan 990? I'm giving you a hard time, my man. I'm giving you
Tom, that's the new sound of the Sports Fan 990.
Okay, don't worry about it. I'm Kevin Long. I'm going to be in with you for the next hour here. Pete Restant, day off. He'll be back on Monday. But on this Friday, we'd certainly like to commend South Carolina safety Emmanuel Cook. He was arrested for unlawful possession of a firearm today. Now, an arrest involving a weapon makes his season toast for this year, but the reason we're commending him, if you're going to pull a lame brain trick like that, do it on the day one of the most highly visible NFL players files a plea agreement admitting to nefarious dogfighting. That's going to cut your airtime and your print space drastically. So good move, Emmanuel Cook. That's thinking. Okay, Michael Vick filed this plea agreement today, and he basically admitted to all the nefarious things we heard about him. That subject was dissected inside out by the two live stews you just heard right here on the all-new Sports Fan 990. The two live stews, as always, were hilarious. Now, here's how they summed it up. The federal government and the NFL basically told Michael Vick, "Your ass is grass, and I am a John Deere lawnmower." Now, that's not me talking. I'm quoting the two live stews. I run a G-rated program, but you get the point. Michael Vick has a few problems he could sure do without. But tell you what, we're going to talk about professional tennis and Texas Longhorn football. Ted Robinson from NBC Sports and Jeff McDonald from the San Antonio Express News will join us. Now, I'll tell you what, it's getting tougher and tougher these days to tell the difference between the Austin police blotter and the Texas Longhorns roster, and Jeff knows all about that. He's going to talk to us about that. First, though, U.S. Open coming up next week. Ted Robinson will make the call. Ted joins us now. Ted, good to have you on the airways in Dallas-Fort Worth this evening.
Kevin, how are you?
Real good. And of course, I say Ted Robinson, NBC Sports. Last week you were on ESPN. You've been on Fox Sports quite a bit and will be a lot this fall. And, of course, I take it this week you're going to be on the USA Network and maybe CBS. I mean, Ted, you're almost like a sportscasting Paris Hilton. You're just saturating the networks everywhere.
That's a wonderful description, Kevin. I'm going to tell my kids that one. That's one I've never heard before. Sportscasting Paris Hilton.
Well, you're everywhere.
You know what? It's a very simple equation. Somebody calls you and offers you money, and the general answer is yes.
Well, I'll tell you what. Will you be on the USA Network and CBS this week?
I'm on USA Network.
Okay,
USA Network only, not on CBS. Okay, no, and USA Network is owned by NBC, so I'm actually working for my parent company.
Okay, good enough. You're with your parent company. Tell you, gosh, Ted, I was thinking about this the other day. The first time you worked for the network, this is a long time ago. You told me this story about 30 years ago. But weren't you working at a Notre Dame basketball game where you had to record live natural sound and you had to stick a mic between the leg of the West Virginia coach at a game or something and he got all bent out of shape at you during the huddle?
I was running God, this was way back. I was a student at Notre Dame in the late 70s. And I'm almost positive it was HBO in its infancy was doing some sports and they were broadcasting this basketball game from Notre Dame because in that time Notre Dame was a top 5 team in the country. And my job, I was hired as a student to sit in front of alongside the West Virginia bench with what's known as a boom microphone or just a long, you sometimes see these things around sporting events, a long microphone on a stick that you basically could lean over and stick into a huddle to pick up sound. And yeah, that's what the West Virginia coach's name was Joe Gardner. And he didn't like that long boom microphone extending into his huddle. So he had a few choice words for me. But the great story about that game, very quickly, that game was played on a Wednesday night in January of 1978. And it started snowing during that game. West Virginia, this was back when everybody flew commercial flights. By Thursday morning, when they were ready to leave to fly back to West Virginia, the South Bend airport was closed. It did not stop snowing until Friday. We had 50 inches of snow. On Sunday, Maryland, with Albert King and John Lucas, was due in to play a national, NBC Game of the Week with Enberg, McGuire, and Packer. They finally, on Sunday morning, got the runway at the South Bend Airport plowed, got the road plowed, one road from the airport to the arena. And Maryland was able to fly in Sunday morning. They got to the arena. They played the game. They had no parking lots available. Basically, they threw the doors open and said anybody that can walk to the arena can come in for free.
Oh,
but the game was played, and the story is West Virginia was still in their hotel in South Bend. The West Virginia team had come in on Tuesday, played Wednesday, and they did not leave South Bend until Monday. That's a long time to be in a South Bend motel.
Well, did they come to the game, though? Did they come to the game?
They couldn't get there. There would have been no way. I mean, unless they were willing to walk, and their motel is probably 2 miles away, so I would doubt it.
Yeah, those winters in South Bend can be kind of rugged. Ted, tell us the fate of American tennis these days. You know, where have all the Chrissy Everetts and John McEnroes gone? I mean, why are we seeing Serena Williams with cameos on Law and Order instead of out there practicing? When are we going to see some more great tennis players from America?
Well, I would say it's a two-pronged answer, Kevin. Where have the champions gone? America still has champions, I would say. The second part of the equation is that the problem is that there's other places in the world now where tennis is being played. In the era you cited, tennis was primarily played in the United States, Australia, maybe a little bit in England, a little bit in France, and that was pretty much it. And now you have tennis players coming from Serbia and Cyprus and Croatia and Finland and Thailand. I mean, you have champion tennis players coming from parts of the globe that we've never seen great tennis players from previously. So the competition is much fiercer than it ever was. And I think that's part of the problem that Americans, we tend to be pretty parochial in our sports, and we gravitate towards that American champion. And what we don't accept very readily is the rest of the world is and you know what else? God, Kevin, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the obvious answer, which is Russia. I mean, Russia's producing, these incredible number of champion tennis players, and there's a hunger involved that we've never had before either. And that hunger's fueling a lot of these players from these Eastern European countries.
Okay, once again, we're talking with Ted Robinson from NBC Sports, ESPN, Fox Sports, USA. Ted does it all. Ted's going to make the call at the U.S. Open coming up. Now, Ted, is Roger Federer going to clean and fry everyone once again to the point that consumer advocate groups are going to be demanding refunds, or is anybody going to challenge him in the next couple of weeks? I know you're not a soothsayer, but what do you think?
Kevin, you know what? I don't know if he's going to steamroll the field. He's still absolutely the favorite. I mean, the guy is right now on the two most amazing streaks in the history of men's tennis. He's won the U.S. Open and Wimbledon consecutively 3 years running. No one's ever done that. He's now got 5 Wimbledons in a row, trying to make it 4 Wimbledon U.S. Open back-to-back. Nobody else has done more than 2. And he's played in 9 consecutive Slam finals. And to give you an idea of that, the next greatest number in the history of the sport's 4. All right, so he's more than doubled the previous best consecutive Slam finals. So that would be the equivalent of McGuire in that year hitting 120 home runs, right, instead of 70. So I mean, I'm saying when you look at that, the guy's extraordinary. You know, he's also human, and I've got to believe at some point somebody's going to test him and challenge him like Nadal did in the Wimbledon final. This year, Kevin, the way the draw shapes up, Federer has a tougher road than Nadal. I think this could be the year Nadal makes a breakthrough and gets to the finals of the Open, the one thing he hasn't done. Federer has a much tougher road to get there.
Well, Ted, I'll tell you what Damon Runyon once said, life's battles don't always go to the strong and the swift, but if betting money, bet on the strong and the swift, and we'll keep that in mind with Roger Federer this week. Ted, let's shift gears here just a little bit. I'm getting interested in this ESPN series, The Bronx is Burning. I'm really kind of enjoying that. You know, one, I know you were working in New York when that happened. I think you might have been interning with the Nets, you told me, although that could have been a previous summer. But anyhow, one, have you watched The Bronx is Burning? And two, what have been your opinions of it?
Well, you know, it's funny. I've watched parts of 2 episodes only. And the problem, I guess, is that I've been conditioned because basically every previous effort by ESPN to do these drama series, I think, has failed. And so I was preconditioned to not watch this. This is, to me, by far the best one they've done. And, I mean, as everybody has said, it's universal. John Turturro's portrayal of Billy Martin is ridiculously uncanny. The PR director for that team that year is a friend of mine, Mickey Morabito. He's out here in Oakland working for the A's now, has been for 27 years, and even he has said that Martin and the actor that plays Munson is also an uncanny. It's as if, he said, it's as if I'm watching Thurman again.
How about the guy playing Reg?
And yes, I mean, the story is a great story, Kevin. You're a New Yorker. I'm a New Yorker. We know the era. And that summer, I was dating a girl that was uneasy and didn't want to go out very often because of the Son of Sam thing. So we all, who lived through that remember that feeling. That was sort of bizarre to have the biggest city on earth paralyzed by one knucklehead, and thankfully they found him, and it was crazy. I mean, the Yankees were on the rebound, the Mets were dying at the same time, so it was this kind of shift in the power of New York baseball was happening, and the city, as I think the book and the show are accurately portraying, there was a political upheaval in the city as well.
Sure was, with his honor going for the mayor there, Ed Koch.
Yep. Exactly.
Who, by the way, I always liked him. I thought he was a smart aleck beyond being a smart aleck. I thought he was pretty funny. I kind of liked that too about him. But, you're absolutely right. And, of course, the thing I always remember about that, Ted, I was working as a seasonal patrolman at a state park out in Long Island. We got a sketch every Monday of the Son of Sam, be on the wire for this guy. Of course, it didn't look anything like them when they finally found the guy. But it's been an interesting series, I'll have to say that. And I did get a kick out of some of your analogies there and some of the things you were able to bring forth about the Billy